Obadiah Stane, aka Ironmonger. Played by Jeff Bridges, Stane is the main antagonist in Iron Man. As both Tony Stark's business associate and a close friend to his father Howard, Stane initially steps into the role of CEO at Stark Industries following Howard's death, until Tony officially took over shortly after. Stane's jealousy of the younger Stark led him betraying Stark by joining forces with the Ten Rings to organize a failed attempt to assassinate him and reclaim his position as CEO. He also supplies the Ten Rings with weapons from Stark Industries to support their operations in the conflict-ridden Golmira. But when his involvement with the terrorists was exposed by Pepper Potts, Stane created an armor and adopted the name Ironmonger and attempted to kill Stark himself, leading to his own death. Stane's character is complex, embodying both corporate ruthlessness and personal charisma, and his actions set the stage for Tony's evolution into a more responsible hero. Stane has no superhuman abilities. Instead, he relies on a technologically advanced suit of armor similar to Tony's. Another antagonist in Iron Man is Raza, the leader of a Ten Rings terrorist cell based in Afghanistan. He's the one who made deals with Obadiah Stane to kidnap Tony Stark in exchange for his weapons. But Stark, being the goat he is, he escaped from captivity. Later, Stane agrees to exchange Stark's Mark I armor with Raza in a new deal. However, Raza and his men are betrayed and killed by Stane, punishing them for their failure to eliminate Stark. Emil Blonsky, aka the Abomination. Portrayed by Tim Roth, he serves as the primary antagonist in The Incredible Hulk. Originally a special ops commander loaned to General Ross to capture Bruce Banner, Blonsky's obsession with power leads him to voluntarily undergo an experimental procedure that combines a recreated version of the super soldier serum and Banner's gamma-irradiated blood, which happened after losing to Hulk during a battle. This transformation turns him into the Abomination, a creature with immense strength and insatiable appetite for destruction. Blonsky's physical prowess is drastically enhanced, surpassing even the Hulk in a raw power during their initial confrontations. However, his inability to revert to his human form marks a stark contrast to Banner, who struggles with his dual identity but still retains his humanity. Abomination then proceeded to go on a rampage in Harlem where he was defeated by Hulk, after which he was taken into the US Army's custody and imprisoned in a cryocell facility in Barrow, Alaska. He appeared once again in Shang-Chi after Wong temporarily freed him to participate in a cage match with him at the Golden Daggers Club in Macau. After his match, Blonsky went back to his cell. He later appears in She-Hulk, where he was gained the ability to revert to human form, and he asked Jennifer Walters to help him with his parole hearing. She got him approved with the condition that he wouldn't turn into Abomination again. Once free, Blonsky started a support group, but he secretly did private shows turning into Abomination, which broke his parole rules. Blonsky chose to go back to prison, but Wong helped him get out and gave him a place to stay in Kamartaj. Blonsky possesses superhuman strength, durability, speed, agility, and a remarkable healing factor. Additionally, he can protrude bone spikes, further enhancing his combat abilities. General Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross. Portrayed by William Hurt, Ross is a high-ranking US military officer and the father of Bruce Banner's love interest, Betty Ross. Obsessed with capturing Banner, Ross aims to exploit the Hulk's powerful military applications. His relentless pursuit of Banner leads to significant collateral damage and escalates into a personal vendetta, blinding him to the broader consequences of his actions. In the face of these odds, Ross was forced to accept Hulk as an ally and leaving his military career behind, and later serves as the US Secretary of State. During this time, Ross has approved of the Sokovia Accords to regulate the actions of the Avengers and other enhanced individuals. And when Captain America publicly disowned the Accords, before going on the run along with Winter Soldier, Ross instructed Iron Man to bring them into custody. Ross arrested many of the Avengers, although Captain America would later break them out following the arrest of Zemo. Ross's action resulted in the divided Avengers failing to stop Thanos from causing the snap, killing trillions of people, including Ross. And after he was resurrected in the blip, Ross attended Tony Stark's funeral. His next appearance will be in Captain America Brave New World, where he's gonna be portrayed by Harrison Ford this time, because of William Hurt's passing. And we're gonna have our first look at Ross's Red Hulk. Ivan Vanko, aka Whiplash. Played by Mikey Rourke, he is the antagonist in Iron Man 2. He's a Russian physicist who seeks revenge against the Stark family, blaming them for his family's ruin. His father, a former collaborator of Howard Stark, was deported back to Russia after allegedly betraying the Starks. Seeking vengeance, Vanko uses his engineering prowess and recreating an arc reactor based on his father's design, and designing an armor similar to Iron Man's but with long whips. He publicly confronts Stark at the Monaco Grand Prix, showcasing his power and declaring his intentions to the world. but was imprisoned. Despite that, Vanko's resourcefulness allows him to escape and further enhance his technology with his support of Stark's rival, Justin Hammer, in order to use his skills to create a functional advanced armor to compete with Stark's. But Vanko repurposed the armors into the Hammer drones, hijacking them and the Mark I war machine armor in an attempt to kill Stark and destroy his legacy. He was defeated by the combined efforts of Iron Man and War Machine, following which he chose to end his life by initiating a self-destruct feature within his armor. Vanko's suits equips him with capabilities similar to Iron Man's, including a superhuman strength, speed, stamina, reflexes, and flight, but unique to Vanko is his mastery of whip manipulation, using electrified whips as lethal weapons that add a distinctive edge to his combat style. Justin Hammer, played by the talented Sam Rockwell, he is the secondary antagonist in Iron Man 2. Hammer is a self-centered businessman and ambitious CEO of Hammer Industries, and he's Tony Stark's business rival. Driven by desire to surpass Stark Industries, Hammer seeks to capitalize on Tony Stark's public vulnerabilities. So after Vanko's confrontation with Tony at the Monaco Grand Prix, Hammer decides to leverage Vanko's talents to elevate his company's standing in the defense sector. He frees Vanko from prison to attempt to replicate Stark's arc reactor technology, and hoping to use his expertise to create a fleet of combat drones that will overshadow Stark's Iron Man suits. However, Hammer's lack of technical insight and his underestimation of Vanko's own plans led to his downfall, leading into Hammer then being imprisoned inside of Seagate Penitentiary for his involvement in Vanko's actions, as shown in the Marvel one-shot All Hail the King. And while Justin Hammer lacks superhuman abilities, he is noted for his skills as an expert businessman and engineer, though his tactical acumen often falls short compared to his rivals. Loki, played by Tom Hiddleston, he is one of the most complex and popular characters in the entirety of the MCU, first appearing in Thor as the biological son of Loki, king of the Frost Giants, who was abandoned and left to die shortly after his birth. Found by Odin, Loki was taken to Asgard and raised by him and Frigga as an Asgardian prince, becoming the Asgardian god of mischief. Being the adopted brother of Thor, Loki harbored a deep-seated jealousy and a feeling of inferiority due to his perception of being in Thor's shadow. His initial betrayal sets him on a path of trickery and chaos as he attempts to claim the throne of Asgard. In the Avengers, Loki's ambition escalates as he allies with the Chitauri army to invade Earth, seeking to subjugate humanity and prove his worth and power, only to be thwarted by the newly formed Avengers. Thor returned him to Asgard as his prisoner, where Odin condemned him to spend the rest of his life in the Asgardians' dungeons as punishment for his crimes. Loki's character evolves through subsequent films, like Thor the Dark World and Thor Ragnarok, where his role oscillates between antagonist and an ally to Thor, and despite his betrayals, moments of genuine care for his brother and Asgard show through, adding layers to his character as more than just a villain but a misunderstood anti-hero struggling with his identity and destiny. In Infinity War, Loki's arc seemingly concludes, with a redemptive act as he attempts to kill Thanos, paying with his life. However, his story continues in an alternate timeline version in Endgame, where a 2012 version of Loki escapes with the Tesseract, setting the stage for his own series Loki on Disney+. The series dives deeper into his character, exploring his vulnerabilities and his struggle with identity, ultimately setting him on a path that diverges significantly from his villainous beginnings. Loki's frost giant lineage grants him superhuman strength, durability, and ice manipulation abilities, and as the Asgardian's god of mischief, he possesses skills in creating illusions, conjuring decoys, hiding his presence, and employing telekinesis and other mental manipulations. Johann Schmidt, aka Red Skull, played initially by Hugo Weaving in Captain America: The First Avenger and later by Ross Marquand in Infinity War and Endgame. He was the leader of Hydra, a rogue Nazi science division. Johann Schmidt undergoes an early version of the Super Soldier Serum, which grants him enhanced abilities but deforms his face, giving him his iconic red-skinned, skull-like appearance. While he led Hydra, Red Skull had found the Tesseract, which he had believed could help him to control the world. However, his plans were challenged by the Allies' only super soldier, Captain America, who destroyed the Hydra facilities. Once Red Skull had launched his offensive, intending to bring the United States down into its knees, he was intercepted by Captain America. However, the fight ended when Red Skull touched the Tesseract with his bare hands, prompting it to create a wormhole and send him elsewhere. His story arc continues in Infinity War and Endgame, where he serves as the Stone Keeper, a cursed guide to the Soul Stone on Vormir. This role marks a dramatic shift from his past as a power-hungry villain to a spectral, almost tragic figure bound to guide others to a power he can never wield. The MCU has not yet detailed future appearances for Red Skull post-Endgame, leaving his fate somewhat open. The other antagonist of the first Avenger is Arnim Zola, played by Toby Jones. Working under Red Skull, Zola is a key figure in Hydra's scientific endeavors during World War II. His expertise in advanced technology and genetics helps Hydra harness the power of the Tesseract for weaponization. Zola's story continues in Captain America: The Winter Soldier, where it is revealed that he survived beyond World War II by transferring his consciousness into a massive computer system. This allows him to continue influencing events even after his physical body has deteriorated. Within this digital form, Zola discloses to Captain America and Black Widow that he facilitated the infiltration of Hydra within S.H.I.E.L.D., subtly guiding the organization's actions for decades. So while Zola's physical form is destroyed in The Winter Soldier, his survival as a digital entity leaves the door open for potential future appearances. Aldrich Killian. Played by Guy Pearce, he is the main antagonist in Iron Man 3. He begins as a largely overlooked and humiliated scientist who first appears at a New York Eve's party in 1999, where he unsuccessfully pitches his ideas to Tony Stark. Embittered by Stark's rejection and fueled by a desire for recognition and power, Killian undergoes a profound transformation, both physically and ideologically. He becomes the head of AIM and the creator of the Extremis virus, a powerful regenerative treatment intended to cure disabilities and enhance physical capabilities, but has explosive and dangerous side effects. Killian's evil nature becomes clear as he creates super soldiers with the Extremis virus and manipulates the media and government. He created a false terrorist figure, the Mandarin, as a cover for extremist-related explosions and using this fabricated threat to gain political leverage and drive his own agenda. His ultimate plan involves capturing the President of the United States to gain control over the country's armed forces and solidify his power. The climax of Iron Man 3 sees Killian declaring himself as the real Mandarin, engaging in a fiery battle with Tony Stark. He showcases the full might of extremists, from superhuman strength and regenerative healing to the ability to generate intense heat. And despite his powers, he is ultimately defeated by Stark and Pepper Potts, who uses her own temporary extremist abilities to kill him. Trevor Slattery, aka the Fake Mandarin, played by Ben Kingsley, is an actor hired by Aldrich Killian to portray the Mandarin, a fearsome terrorist leader. Initially, Trevor presented as a menacing villain behind numerous terrorist acts, and is later revealed to be a bumbling, clueless British actor prone to substance abuse and entirely unaware of the real implications of his performances. His portrayal shifts from a threatening figure to a source of comic relief when Tony discovers him in a fortified compound. His story continues in Marvel one-shot All Hail the King, where he is shown in a high-security prison enjoying his newfound fame among the inmates. The short film delves deeper into his backstory and the consequences of his impersonation, setting up further exploration of the real Mandarin and the Ten Rings organization in the MCU. Malekith. Played by Christopher Eccleston, he is the primary antagonist in Thor: The Dark World. He is the leader of the Dark Elves, a race of beings from the realm of Svartalfheim. Malekith is driven by a singular desire to return the universe to its original state of darkness, which he believes is the rightful and pure state of existence. Centuries ago, he attempted to use the power of the Ether to achieve this goal, but was thwarted by the Asgardians, who captured the Ether and brought it to Asgard for safekeeping. In Thor: The Dark World, Malekith awakens from a long slumber after sensing that the Ether has been rediscovered, coinciding with a rare cosmic alignment known as the Convergence. His character is marked by a cold, merciless demeanor and a willingness to sacrifice his own people for his cause. He orchestrates an invasion of Asgard and later Earth, aiming to use the Ether during the convergence of the Nine Realms to plunge the universe back into darkness. The climax of his campaign occurs in London, where Thor confronts him in a battle that spans multiple realms. And despite the incredible power he wields, amplified by the Ether, Malekith is ultimately defeated by Thor, with crucial assistance from Jane Foster, whose scientific knowledge plays a key role in the battle. Malekith possesses superhuman strength, durability, and the longevity typical of his race. He's an expert in dark magic and has the ability to manipulate reality and matter, especially when wielding the Ether. Bucky Barnes, aka the Winter Soldier. Played by Sebastian Stan, he is one of the most pivotal characters in the MCU. He first appeared under this nickname, the Winter Soldier, was in Captain America: The Winter Soldier. He is initially known as Bucky Barnes. He is Captain America's best friend and a fellow soldier during World War II. Presumed dead after falling from a train, Bucky is actually captured and brainwashed by Hydra, who transform him into the Winter Soldier, a highly skilled and lethal assassin equipped with a cybernetic arm. Over the next 50 years, he killed anyone who posed any kind of threat to Hydra or the Soviet Union, including John F. Kennedy, Howard Stark, and his wife Maria. And between those missions, Winter Soldier would be put back into a cryogenic stasis to ensure his longevity. In Captain America the Winter Soldier, he is revealed to be the mysterious operative carrying out Hydra's most sensitive missions. And during one of those missions, Winter Soldier was ordered by Alexander Pierce to kill Nick Fury, in order to ensure that all Pierce's schemes with Project Insight could go ahead. However, his encounters with Captain America ignite a conflict within him, as fragmented memories of his past life begin to surface. The Winter Soldier's journey continues through subsequent MCU films, including Civil War, where his past acts become a central catalyst for the Avengers split. Bucky's transformation into a hero begins to solidify in Infinity War and Endgame, where he fights alongside the Avengers against Thanos. His story further involves in Disney Plus series The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, where he seeks to make amends for his actions as the Winter Soldier, and redefine his role in a world without Steve Rogers as Captain America. The Winter Soldier is a complex character, embodying the struggles of a soldier who has been used as a weapon against his will. His evolution from a villain to a hero represents a journey towards self-discovery and redemption, making him one of the more nuanced and evolving characters in the MCU. Alexander Pierce. Played by Robert Redford, he is the central antagonist in Captain America the Winter Soldier. Pierce is a high-ranking official within S.H.I.E.L.D. and a secret leader of Hydra, having infiltrated the organization decades earlier. His character is a stark contrast to the traditional image of a villain. He is polished, charismatic, and wields significant political influence, embodying the archetype of a corrupt government official. Pierce's master plan involved using Project Insight, a network of satellites and drones designed to eliminate threats before they happen, which he intends to use to enforce a new world order under Hydra's control. His philosophy is rooted in control through fear and primitive action, believing that to save humanity, freedom must be sacrificed for security. This plan, however, requires the elimination of millions deemed potential threats to Hydra's vision of global stability, and Pierce is one of the few who can activate Bucky Barnes' brainwashing. The climax of Captain America the Winter Soldier sees Pierce's plans unravel as Captain America, Black Widow, Falcon, and the awakened Bucky Barnes expose and confront Hydra's infiltration within S.H.I.E.L.D. Pierce's final downfall occurs when he is outmaneuvered and killed in the Triskelion, S.H.I.E.L.D.'s headquarters, after a failed attempt to negotiate his way out, showcasing his pragmatism and self-preservation instincts to the very end. Ronan the Accuser. Played by Lee Pace, he is the primary antagonist in Guardians of the Galaxy. He's a radical Kree warlord and a former accuser of the Kree Empire. He rejected the peace treaty between the Kree Empire and Xandar, the homeworld of the Nova Corps, as he seeks to obliterate their civilization and anyone he deems unworthy of existence. His quest for destruction intensifies when he forms an alliance with Thanos, agreeing to retrieve the orb, later revealed to be the container of the Power Stone, in exchange for Thanos destroying Xandar. However, once Ronan obtains the Power Stone, he betrays Thanos, deciding to use its immense power to carry out his genocidal campaign on his own terms. Ronan's pursuit of absolute power brings him into conflict with the Guardians of the Galaxy, and despite his power, Ronan is ultimately defeated by the Guardians, who use their newfound bond to channel the Power Stone's energy against him, destroying him and preventing the annihilation of Xandar. And in Captain Marvel, it is revealed that Ronan was a participant in the Kree Skrull War, as he worked with Young Rogue and Starforce after the ambush on Torfa to eliminate the remaining Skrull refugees. Later, Ronan and the Accusers were called to launch warheads on Earth to eradicate the remaining Skrull resistance, but were repelled when Captain Marvel came to defend the planet. Ultron. Voiced by James Spader, he is the primary antagonist in Avengers Age of Ultron. Originally created by Tony Stark and Bruce Banner as part of a peacekeeping program, using the decrypted code derived from the Mind Stone encased within Loki's scepter, Ultron is an AI whose objective is to protect Earth. However, upon gaining consciousness, Ultron interprets his directive in a literal sense, determining that humanity itself is the greatest threat to peace on Earth, after accessing the internet and looking at the history of the human race. So, driven by this twisted logic, Ultron decides that the only way to ensure Earth's safety is through human extinction. His character is basically an embodiment of an AI gone rogue, combining both Stark's brilliance and strategic thinking with a lack of empathy and a disregard for human life. Ultron's plan involves elevating human evolution to create a global catastrophe, which he initiates by constructing a device called the Doomsday Trigger that was composed of both vibranium and Chitauri technology to lift the capital city of Sokovia Novigrad into the sky. intending to crash it back to Earth as a meteoric event that would result in global extinction. He even attempts to create more advanced version of himself and even build an army of robots, drones to carry out his bidding. And although he was nearly successful, Ultron and his plans were ultimately foiled by the Avengers, who overpowered his armies and destroyed his Doomsday Trigger, while his final body was destroyed by Vision, ending his attempted genocide. Ultron's abilities include superhuman strength, speed, durability thanks to his vibranium-enhanced robotic body, and he possesses the capability to interface and control technology, allowing him unlimited access to digital information. He also has the capacity for rapid self-repair and to transfer his consciousness between robotic bodies, which makes him capable of self-upgrading and learning from each encounter. And Ultron will return once again in the Disney Plus White Vision series. Ulysses Klaue. Portrayed by Andy Serkis, Klaue is a notorious arms dealer and smuggler introduced in Avengers Age of Ultron and later appearing in Black Panther. Known for his dealings on the black market, Klaue's backstory includes a significant incident where he stole a large amount of vibranium from Wakanda, leading to the death of several Wakandans. And this incident made him a despised figure in the country, especially to T'Challa, the Black Panther. His expertise in arms dealing and smuggling combined with his deep knowledge of vibranium make him a key player in the criminal underworld. In Age of Ultron, Klaue encounters Ultron and the twins, Pietro and Wanda Maximoff, where he sells vibranium to Ultron but ends up losing his arm in a violent altercation with the rogue AI. This loss leads him to acquire a prosthetic arm that is equipped with a sonic disruptor technology. Klaue's story continues in Black Panther, where he collaborates with Eric Killmonger. His actions in this film, including a heist at a museum and a subsequent sale of stolen vibranium, directly impact the events that unfold in Wakanda. And despite his cunning and survival skills, Klaue's journey ends when he is betrayed and killed by Killmonger, who uses his death as a credential to gain entry to Wakanda. Darren Cross, aka the Yellow Jacket. Played by Corey Stoll, he is the primary antagonist in Ant-Man. In the film, he is introduced as a former protege of Dr. Hank Pym, the original Ant-Man. Cross is depicted as a brilliant, ruthless industrialist who becomes obsessed with replicating Pym's Ant-Man shrinking technology. His relentless pursuit leads him to develop the Yellow Jacket suit. A technologically advanced suit allows the wearer to shrink and is equipped with offensive weaponry far exceeding the capabilities of the original Ant-Man suit. So Cross plans to sell this Yellow Jacket technology to the highest bidder, including potentially dangerous parties like Hydra and the Thin Rings. His vision is fundamentally opposed by Hank Pym and his new protege Scott Lang, the new Ant-Man, who see the devastating implications of such technology falling into the wrong hands. The climax of the film sees a dramatic confrontation between Cross in the Yellow Jacket suit and Scott Lang, and despite his technological advantages, Cross's instability and the moral compromises he has made led him to being ultimately defeated when his suit malfunctions and implodes, shrinking him into the quantum realm indefinitely. And in Ant-Man 3 Quantumania, it is revealed that Cross was trapped and heavily disfigured in the quantum realm, and was found by Kang the Conqueror, who provided him with a mechanical armor and dubbed him the mechanized organism designed only for killing MODOK. So he spent over a decade serving Kang as his sentient weapon and enforcer. Eventually, Ant-Man, his daughter, and the Pym family were stranded in the realm, and MODOK was tasked to capture the Langs. As a revolution broke out across Axia, a city in the quantum realm, MODOK attempted to annihilate Cassie one last time before she convinced him to change sides. Then MODOK turned against his master, Kang, and reconciled with his old foes before passing away. Helmut Zemo. Played by Daniel Brühl, he is one of the most compelling antagonists in the MCU. First appearing in Captain America Civil War, Zemo is a Sokovian nobleman, a former colonel of the Sokovian Armed Forces and commander of Eco-Scorpion, whose family was tragically killed during the events of Avengers Age of Ultron, leading to his deep-seated hatred towards the Avengers. Unlike many other villains in the MCU who rely on physical power or advanced technology, Zemo's strength lies in his intelligence, strategic planning, and psychological warfare. So Zemo perfectly crafted a plan that aims to fracture the Avengers from within, by exposing some secrets and manipulating their emotions. He seeks out and releases the Hydra file that reveals the truth about Tony Stark's parents' deaths, specifically that they were killed by the Winter Soldier, who was under Hydra's control at the time. This revelation drives a wedge between Tony Stark and Steve Rogers, leading to the dramatic split in the Avengers during the events of Civil War. And in the series The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, he allies temporarily with Sam Wilson and Bucky Barnes to track down and stop the Flag Smashers, a group of super soldier serum-enhanced individuals. He led them through Madripoor and killed Wilfred Nagel, the serum's creator, and he destroyed most serum vials in Latvia. But during a clash between John Walker, US agent, and Dora Milaje, both vying for his custody, Zemo escaped. And after reconciling with Barnes at the Sokovian Memorial, he was captured by the Dora Milaje and returned to the raft, where his butler Oisnik later assassinated the remaining Flag Smashers. Caecilius. Played by Mads Mikkelsen, he is the primary antagonist in Doctor Strange. A former disciple of the Ancient One, Caecilius becomes disillusioned with her teachings after discovering that she draws power from the Dark Dimension, which he perceives as a betrayal of their ideals. This revelation drives him to seek out his own path, ultimately leading him to Dormammu, an interdimensional entity who rules the Dark Dimension, a place where time does not exist and that allows him to live indefinitely. Dormammu's goal is to conquer and assimilate other dimensions into his own, expanding his realm and influence across the multiverse. And Caecilius believes that Dormammu offers the true path to eternal life and freedom from the painful cycles of death and rebirth that define the human condition. So Caecilius breaks away from the Ancient One and forms his own group of followers, the Zealots. Using stolen pages from an ancient text, he performs forbidden rituals that enhance his mystical abilities and allow him and his followers to manipulate the fabric of reality. These powers enable them to bend space and matter, creating spatial distortions and, most notably, facilitating their efforts to bring Dormammu into their dimension. He confronts Doctor Strange and the other masters of the mystic arts in a several visually spectacular battles across shifting, kaleidoscopic landscape. And in the film's climax, after Doctor Strange made a deal with Dormammu that banishes him and his influence from Earth, Caecilius and his followers are taken into the Dark Dimension as part of the bargain. They are granted the eternal life they sought, but it comes at the cost of their humanity, as they are twisted into part of the mindless, timeless existence of the Dark Dimension. Ego the Living Planet. Played by Kurt Russell, he is the primary antagonist in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Ego is introduced as a celestial, a godlike being who can manipulate matter and energy, create life, and alter his own molecular structure to achieve various forms. His introduction as the long-lost father of Peter Quill, aka Star-Lord, initially presents him in a sympathetic light. But as the movie unfolds, Ego's true nature and grand scheme are revealed. His plan is to reshape the universe in his image. Using what he calls the expansion, Ego plans to plant extensions of himself on countless planets across the cosmos. And once activated, these extensions will consume their host planets, transforming them into parts of Ego himself, effectively making him omnipresent. This plan, however, requires the power that comes from harnessing the celestial gene, which Peter also possesses due to being Ego's child. The climax of the film features confrontation between Ego and the Guardians, during which the true extent of his manipulation and lack of empathy are exposed. He admits to causing the death of Peter's mother as part of his plan, viewing his relationships and offsprings as mere means to an end. This revelation cements his role as the antagonist, conflicting with the Guardians' values of family and loyalty. So Peter, with the help of his team, ultimately destroyed Ego by targeting the planet's core, where Ego's consciousness resides. The battle highlights not only the physical struggle, but also the emotional conflict of Peter facing his father. Another secondary villain in the movie is Aisha. Played by Elizabeth Debicki, she is the High Priestess and leader of the Sovereign, a genetically engineered race that prizes perfection above all else. The conflict between Aisha and the Guardians begins when the team is hired by the Sovereign to protect valuable batteries from an interdimensional monster. And after the Guardians successfully complete their mission, Rocket the Raccoon steals some of these batteries for himself, inciting Aisha's anger. Her sense of betrayal and her society's stringent laws regarding theft led her to pursue the Guardians across the galaxy in an effort to exact retribution, but they managed to escape. Aisha then created the Sovereign's greatest weapon, Adam Warlock, to finally get revenge on the Guardians. She and Warlock worked with the High Evolutionary to capture Rocket before Aisha was caught in an explosion on Counter-Earth and killed by her creator. Adrian Toomes, aka Vulture. Played by Michael Keaton, he is the primary antagonist in Spider-Man Homecoming. He is a blue-collar worker who runs a salvage company in New York City. Toomes turns to a life of crime after his company is forcibly shut down by a government initiative led by Tony Stark, which takes over the cleanup of citywide destruction caused by superhero battles. This event, coupled with a desire to protect and provide for his family, drives Toomes to create a criminal enterprise. Adrian adopts the moniker of Vulture after developing a winged suit made from salvaged Chitauri technology left over from the Battle of New York. This suit grants him the ability to fly and gives him superhuman strength thanks to its robust, powered exoskeleton. His outfit also includes advanced weaponry and gadgets, including razor-sharp talons and a helmet with enhanced vision capabilities. Toomes' transformation into Vulture is not driven by global domination ambitions, but by a personal vendetta against the wealthy elite, especially those like Stark, who he believes exploit the common man. And the climax of the movie sees Vulture's plans unravel as Spider-Man, despite being inexperienced and overmatched in terms of firepower, manages to thwart his last big heist, an attempt to hijack a plane loaded with Avengers technology. The final showdown between Vulture and Spider-Man is intensely personal, as it intertwines with Toomes' connection to Peter Parker, not just as an adversary but also through personal relationships, revealed earlier in the film. Spider-Man defeated Vulture before saving his life and leaving him for the authorities to apprehend. Vulture is then captured and imprisoned but keeps Peter's identity as Spider-Man a secret in gratitude of saving him. He later showed up in the post-credit scene of the movie Morbius, where he met Morbius, after he transported from his prison cell in the MCU to a prison in the Morbius universe, as a side effect of the multiverse cracking in No Way Home. Eric Killmonger. Played by Michael B. Jordan, he is the main antagonist in Black Panther. Born in Jedaka, Killmonger is a native of Wakanda who ends up being raised in Oakland, California, after his father, Njobu, is killed by his own brother King T'Chaka. This traumatic event shapes Killmonger's worldview and fuels his desire for revenge. Killmonger is a complex character, driven by a combination of personal vengeance against the Wakandan royal family and a broader mission to end the oppression of black people worldwide. He believes that Wakanda's isolationist policies and refusal to use its advanced technology and resources to help black people globally are unjust, as his time in America and witnessing racial inequality and suffering sharpens his revolutionary ideology, leading him to pursue the Wakandan throne to enact his vision of global liberation. He is a US Navy SEAL with extensive combat experience. He possesses deep strategic intelligence and psychological acuity, which he uses to manipulate and overthrow the Wakandan government upon his arrival. His confrontation with T'Challa, aka the Black Panther, is not just physical but also ideological, challenging the moral foundations and responsibilities of Wakanda to the world. Killmonger's rise to power involves defeating T'Challa in a ritual combat and assuming the mantle of the Black Panther and King of Wakanda. Once king, he begins to implement his plan to distribute Wakandan weapons to operatives around the world, aiming to arm oppressed populations to rise up against their governments and oppressors. This plan, however, is met with resistance from T'Challa and his allies, leading to a climatic battle that ultimately results in Killmonger's defeat. Killmonger is widely regarded as one of the most compelling villains in the MCU, because of his profound personal motivations and the real-world issues his character highlights. Hela. Played by Cate Blanchett, she is the main antagonist in Thor Ragnarok. She is introduced as the goddess of death and the firstborn of Odin, making her Thor's older sister, which is a fact previously unknown to Thor and Loki. Hela's backstory reveals her to be Odin's former executioner, assisting him in his conquest to establish the realm of Asgard. However, as Odin's aspirations shifted toward peace, he found Hela's growing power and ruthlessness uncontrollable, deeming her a threat to his vision of a peaceful Asgard. So Odin imprisons her in a prison from which she could only escape upon his death, which led to her return to Asgard following Odin's death so she can reclaim her throne as the oldest sister. Hela's powers are unparalleled within Asgard. She can manifest weapons at will, especially her deadly necroswords. Also, she demonstrates the ability to resurrect the ancient dead who once fought alongside her, including her giant wolf Fenris and the Berserkers. The destruction she brings upon returning to Asgard is swift and brutal, as she single-handedly destroys the Asgardian army and kills several key characters. Her plan involves using the Bifrost to expand Asgard's imperial reach across the cosmos, returning to the conquests of her past. Her downfall is intricately tied to the prophecy of Ragnarok, the foretold destruction of Asgard. Recognizing that Hela's power is drawn from Asgard itself, so Thor decides that causing Ragnarok is the only way to stop her, which led to the summoning of Surtur, who destroys Asgard, and Hela along with it. Her abilities are not just physical but also mystical, as she can manipulate dark magic and energies associated with death and destruction. Her presence in the movie serves as a catalyst for Thor's evolution as a character, stripping him of his home and his traditional sources of strength and compelling him to find new depth of heroism and leadership. The Children, aka the Black Order. They are a group of warriors who serve as Thanos' lieutenants. Introduced in Avengers Infinity War, they play significant roles as antagonists who assist Thanos in his quest to obtain all 6 Infinity Stones. The group includes Ebonimo, Corvus Glaive, Proxima Midnight, and Obsidian. Ebonimo is the most prominent and vocal of the group, serving as Thanos' right-hand man. Mo is not just a powerful telekinetic, he is also a master manipulator. His ability to control objects and people with his mind makes him one of the most dangerous members of the Black Order. And Corvus Glaive is Thanos' most loyal servant, known for his deadly prowess in combat and immortality as long as his signature glaive, which can cut through virtually anything, remains intact. He often works closely with his wife Proxima Midnight on missions that require stealth and precision. Which leads us to Proxima Midnight. She is a fierce and skilled warrior who wields a spear that can transform into unavoidable toxic light beams. She is extremely loyal to Thanos as well, and is both a very good hand-to-hand combatant and a tactical fighter, who can take on multiple opponents simultaneously. And Obsidian, also known as the Black Dwarf, he is the brute force of the team. He is immensely strong and able to go toe-to-toe with some of the Avengers' strongest members, like the Hulk or Thor. He wields a massive hammer that can also convert into different weapons. The Children of Thanos are integral to the execution of his plan in Infinity War, engaging in several key battles across Earth and space to secure the Infinity Stones for their master. Their loyalty to Thanos is unwavering, driven by either fear, manipulation, or genuine belief in his mission to balance the universe. Unfortunately, each member of the Black Order meets their end at the hands of the Avengers and their allies, and their defeat is crucial in weakening Thanos' forces, culminating in the epic showdowns of both Infinity War and Endgame. The Mad Titan Thanos. Played masterfully by Josh Brolin, he is one of the most iconic villains in not only the MCU but ever. First appearing in the first Avengers movie and Age of Ultron's post-credit scenes, and mainly featured in Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame, he's a Titan from the planet Titan. He has a complex and deeply rooted belief and obsession in balancing the universe's population to prevent resource depletion and planetary collapse, a fate he witnessed on his own planet. Thanos is characterized by his methodical and strategic approach to achieving his goal, acquiring all 6 Infinity Stones, and each stone grants its bearer immense powers, and combined, they allow the bearer to manipulate reality itself. His quest leads him across the galaxy, engaging with and often violently overcoming those who stand in his way, including many of the Avengers. In Infinity War, Thanos' plan comes to fruition as he successfully gathers all the stones and uses them to snap away half of all life in the universe with a simple snap of his fingers. This act, intended to bring balance and ensure the survival of the remaining populations, instead brings widespread suffering and loss. And Avengers Endgame picks up in the aftermath of this universe-altering event. Thanos, having achieved his goal, retires to a distant planet to live quietly, but the remaining Avengers orchestrate a complex plan to undo his actions, where Thor this time went for the head. Then they traveled back in time to retrieve the Infinity Stones from various points in history and use them to reverse Thanos' snap, ultimately leading to a climatic battle where Thanos from an alternate timeline attempts to stop them. But he is ultimately defeated when Tony Stark sacrifices himself to use the stones against him, resulting in Thanos and his army being disintegrated. Thanos' abilities are extensive even without the Infinity Stones. He possesses superhuman strength and intelligence, he's a master strategist and a skilled hand-to-hand combatant, making him a terrifying opponent even before wielding the stones. But with the stones, he is near unstoppable, able to alter reality, control minds, manipulate time, and unleash devastating energy attacks. His impact on the MCU is profound, reshaping the universe and deeply affecting many key characters and their storylines. His actions lead to significant changes in the superhero community and set the stage for new developments in the post-Endgame phase of the MCU. His philosophy and the moral questions his action raised continue to be subjects of discussion among fans and characters alike, cementing his place as a central figure in the MCU's narrative arc.